Good afternoon, Cal. The question is how you see Ferencváros's performance so far. You are basically in the same shoes after 2 rounds.
Yeah, exactly. They're a strong team. They've got some good pace on the side. They're well organised. Like you said, we're both in the same position in the group. We both need to win. So, it'll be a tough match. Big intensity in the game, and we look to do everything we can to win the game.
Hi, Callum. Obviously, you played in that game against Ferencváros last time out. Obviously, a lot has changed. Can you look to that game? What experiences can you take from that game into this one?
Like you said, a lot's changed, and certainly, from our side, it's just a completely new team, new manager, different style of game. Like you said, maybe there's a little bit of, they've come to town before, and the fixture, it's completely different circumstances in terms of being an empty stadium. Tomorrow night we're hoping to have a big crowd in. Off the back of a couple of good performances and wins for us, so we need to get going in the group, and we need to try and look at it with fresh eyes in terms of us this season, against them this season as well. So we're looking forward to the game.
The manager sort of threw the gauntlet down, basically a win or bust in terms of keeping your hopes alive. Is that something that puts pressure on the players, or is that something you want to thrive on, to know what you have to do?
Yeah, listen, I think everyone in the building knows what we need to do. Like you say, the manager's challenge is to go and win the game. We know how important it is in terms of the context of the group. So everyone's well aware of that. There's always pressure at Celtic to win. Tomorrow will be no different. So, like you say, we know exactly what we're facing tomorrow in terms of the performance and the result that we need. So, it's full focus on that.
Is it almost unthinkable to think that a Celtic European campaign could be done after 3 games?
For sure it's a strong group, but in terms of the fixtures that we've had so far, we've also had tough fixtures. But like you say, we have to win. We have to win the game tomorrow, and that's what keeps us alive in the group. So that's our focus.
Callum, I know it's a bit of a strange kick-off time tomorrow. Is that something that the players take notice of at all? Does that make any sort of difference to you guys?
Not so much. Obviously in terms of being a European game, it's normally at night. Slightly different time in terms of the kick-off time, but we've been in the game a long time now to understand that we know what the fixture is, we know what the game is. It just becomes another match day for us. So the preparation's been good in terms of recovering well for the weekend. The boys have trained well and training the last 2 days, and the squad's looking good. So when we turn up to the game tomorrow, it just becomes another match day, and the situation around that stays the same.
Is that the hope, that despite it's sort of being in the middle of the day, that you'll still have a sort of packed out crowd and create that European atmosphere?
Yeah, that's what the hope is. Obviously it's a little bit different in terms of people trying to get to the stadium. So we appreciate everyone that's made the effort to get there, and like you say, we're hoping for a big atmosphere again. And the players need to deliver that as well. Like you said, it doesn't matter the kick-off time. We're at home in a European tie, and we need to bring that energy for the crowd to feed off as well, and I'm sure they will.
The manager talked about how the squad's a lot more settled now than it was a few weeks ago. Does that make a big difference to the playing squad as well?
Yeah, I think so. In terms of the building, everyone's had good training time now. We've had a few weeks in terms of getting to know each other, getting to know what the manager wants. So when you have that, you have a settled squad, you've good depth in the squad, then that'll drive the standard on the guys that are training, push the starters, and vice versa. So football teams are always successful when they have that kind of mentality in training where everyone's pushing to play.
Callum, just explain to us a little bit about how you're finding your midfield role at the moment. Obviously at Pittodrie, Near Beaton plays, and I guess on paper that's a bit more defensive. Tom Rogic and David Turnbull play a lot of games with you. And what's the difference, and how are you finding the way that midfield operates at the moment?
Yeah, it's been fine. The manager wants to control the ball, control possession, and we've got guys in there that can do that. David and Tom probably more forward thinking in terms of their positioning. But there's a reason for that in terms of what the manager wants in certain games, and like you said, Near starts at Aberdeen, probably need a little bit more physicality in there, a bit more defensive brain. So he's got good options in there to pick and choose what he needs for certain games. So that's the way the team functions.
Where's the balance for you guys heading into this game tomorrow between building on some of the good moments that you've had in the Europa League so far this season, but ultimately learning from the mistakes as well?
Yeah, we have to get that balance right. Like you said, we have to get it spot on tomorrow. They'll be a good side, good in transition and counter-attack. They've got a bit of speed in the team. They're well organised as well. So, we have to bring a perfect performance to make sure that we get the result that we want. And like you said, that brings all the different elements of the games that we've played so far, the good bits, the bad bits, and what we need to learn from. So, like you said, we need a perfect performance.
Callum, both teams are on 0 points. Both teams need to win the game realistically to have a chance of getting out of the group. Is that the kind of game you relish as a player, especially in an attacking team, when you think two teams are going to be open and trying to score goals?
Yeah, of course, it'll probably make for a good spectacle for the neutrals and the guys watching the game. For us, we have to try and make sure there's enough control in the game that we dictate the way that the game goes in terms of controlling the game, our energy, intensity that we want to bring, and also then controlling their counter-attack and their threats as well. So, like you said, both teams are desperate to win, and I'm sure it'll be a good game.
Callum, you said after the Leverkusen game that it's a demanding style that the manager's asking you all to play with, and I wonder with the settled squad how you feel the cohesion is coming along and how closer you feel you are to basically tightening up in that transition area.
Yeah, we're working on it all the time, doing video stuff after the game, working on the training ground, always trying to get better. And like I touched on after the Leverkusen game, when you've got so many different players come together, it's about experience, it's about learning, and you have to go through those experiences to learn. That's the only way. There's no fast forward button. You just have to go through it, learn from it, and get better. And I'm pretty sure everybody's working as hard as they possibly can every single day to make that happen. And like I said, tomorrow afternoon, we have to produce a performance that there's enough control in it to stop the counter attack, and then we have enough good moments in the game that we win.
Yeah, you're obviously an experienced player, but what have you learned from the manager about your position, and is there anything new that he's taught you basically?
I just touched on it a couple of weeks ago in terms of the rotation. With the fullbacks coming in, you got to be aware of your space. You got to slide across, outnumber the opposition. Where to be in certain moments of the game to then progress the game forward. So, we're always learning. Doesn't matter how experienced you are in football, you can always get better. And the managers get some great ideas. And like I said, you see the improvement for the individual players every game, and that's where we want to be as a team. Just keep getting better and understanding the system more and more every time we play it.
You talk about getting more settled as a squad and getting used to the tactics. How big a challenge has it been for you as a new captain when everything is new, that most of your teammates are new as well, and just kind of helping that process along? Yeah,
it's obviously been a challenge. It's like I said before, bringing new players into the group, finding out what they're good at, where they can get better, what they like as people, what makes them tick, how do we become successful as a group. You got to think of all those factors as well. And like I say, it's just us spending as much time as possible with each other, understanding each other's game. And like I say, well, we're at this club, we all have the one common goal, and it's to make this club successful. So we all have a part to play in that, in terms of giving absolutely everything we can to make sure that that's the case.